Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be an updated best and worst eyeshadow palettes video. I filmed this video like a month ago and okay, lying. I filmed it like almost a year ago. I feel like a month ago. My brain says all kinds of crazy things that it doesn't mean. I filmed this like a year ago and obviously a lot of palettes have phased out. A lot of new palettes have come in and I want to talk about some of the new palettes that I am dying for that have literally just come out and some palettes that have come out that are just a floppity flop flop. So without further ado, we're gonna sing a little special song. And we'll go ahead and jump right into the video. All right, tea time. What is good? Okay, so first I'll start off with, I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to go do a good palette and a bad palette. Good palette, bad palette. I actually have a lot of bad palettes that I just don't like, and I'll tell you why. Anyways, first let's start off with the Chloe Morello. This is her second collaboration with Ciate. Her second part 2 Pretty Fearless Fun palette. Pretty fun and fearless. Hello. I went ahead and swatched a couple colors for you. I find that the shimmers are super creamy and then the mattes are super pigmented. And I played a little bit with this palette and I really enjoyed it. And to be honest, I like this palette even more than the first one. I think she killed it with this. She does such a good job with eyeshadows. And the color arrangement is really pretty of greens and reds and purples. But then you also have like some nice transition-y shades to be able to create a complete look with this palette. And I love when palettes have enough shades that you can complete a 100% complete look with it. I think she did such a good job. And I think just the quality of Ciate's eyeshadows are super nice. So you get even more. This one's bigger than her first collaboration and I like it even more. I think she killed it and I've really been enjoying this palette. So congrats, Chloe. You did a great job or else I wouldn't be talking about it right now, girlfriend, and you know that. Killed it. A palette that did not work out for me was the Natasha Denona. This is such a popular palette. This is the Star palette and not every color didn't work for me, but quite a few colors were a bust. I think this guy is a super pretty palette, but if you could see, I bet you can just look at this and tell me which color was the issue. Yeah, this guy right here, I decided one of the first times I wore this color, all the mattes, by the way, are great in this palette, but mind you, this is like $100 and some odd dollars. It's an extremely expensive palette, and so I expected every color to be bomb diggity, especially for the price point, and so I wanted to do a really pretty, kind of sparkly, beautiful eye for DragCon. I was meeting so many of you guys, and by the way, I already have my swatches ready for my next palette that I love. Anyway, so I used all my mattes and then I actually put down a glitter glue because I swatched this color and I was like, it's super flaky but really pretty. So I was like, let me put down a really tacky glitter glue and pack this color on. And honey, this was the worst mistake of my life. It literally sabotaged my whole makeup look. For the rest of the day, it literally crumbled and flaked all down my face. My false lashes was covered in flakes. It looked like I didn't know how to do makeup. I was like, why did it literally sabotaged me. So I literally, in this color, same thing, literally a nightmare. So this palette, like, I won't buy another Natasha Denona palette with these colors in it because I know I'll never use them. It's just too much money for a palette with colors in it that I won't use. You know, if I buy a really affordable palette and there's a shade or two in it I don't like, I typically will buy that palette anyways. But whenever the price point gets this high, I really want to love every shadow in it. I will say these shimmers are really good and they don't do that. But this, it literally scarred me. Like, I'm telling you, when I had glitter all over my face for my eyes after I put down a glitter glue, girl. So this was a bust, and with those flakiness, I don't think it's worth the money, and that's just my opinion. Just gonna put it out there. Next palette I'm gonna show you guys is the Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership number 3 palette. She came out with 3 new palettes. This one is $125, so it is super expensive. Just disclaimer straight up front. I bought this off Sephora's website, and it comes with 10 shades in it. The pans are pretty big. The palette is it's really pretty and really nice, and I will say the quality of the eyeshadows are great. I will tell you, like, this shade and this shade and this shade is kind of like a moon dust eyeshadow. eyeshadow, but I feel like they're way creamier than Moon Dust eyeshadows, and they're not nearly as flaky as all the Moon Dust eyeshadows coming out. Like, it's like almost like a better version of Moon Dust eyeshadows. So I really, 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 really love this eyeshadow palette. I did this look with this palette. Super creamy mattes in it. I just closed my hair up in it. Oh my god. Can you guys see the quality of the eyeshadow? Whereas like this one's a little more iridescent but not flaky, and then the mattes are so pigmented. That's iridescent, and then these are like creamy shimmers. It's a really great palette. I can't say it's worth the money because once palettes are over $100, like I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, that's so worth it, go get it for 10 eyeshadows, you know. But the actual quality of the eyeshadows is like phenomenal. So just to give you the tea on that. And next up, for a palette that didn't work out for me, the Balmy Brown Nude Drama palette. I will admit I used this only a couple times, and mostly I didn't like the shimmers in this palette. They felt super dry and flaky. They also didn't feel like they had that much pigment to them. They were just had like quite a bit of gaps in them. So it just wasn't like, I don't know, like they feel so dusty and dry, all the nudes. They're just not creamy whatsoever. And so whenever I packed them onto my eyelid, I didn't get that pigmentation that I wanted. I like a lot of heavy pigment from a shimmer. I like it to be like really bling bling and pretty. I also like them to feel really creamy. The mattes were pretty nice in this palette, but the shimmers were quite a bust. So I don't recommend this to you guys. Next up, a palette that I love, and I think so many of us love, is the Jaclyn Hill X Morphe palette. I gotta give her a shout out on this. This is just such a great arrangement of colors. You could travel with this. Mine is filthy. She's got the new packaging, which doesn't get dirty, so that's so awesome. I'm excited. It's gonna be in Ulta as well. And so you get 35 eyeshadow shades, and they're all so creamy, and the mattes blend out so well. I've used this palette so many times, and I just think it's an absolutely amazing palette. I won't beat a dead horse because I know I've talked about it several times on my channel and told you guys how much I adore it and think that she did such a great job with the palette. Speaking of beating the dead horse, I won't go too in depth with this, but I gotta call it out. You know I gotta say something. This is a Subculture palette, and I just think this palette was a total flop. Whenever I tried it out on my channel, I really hated the makeup look I created with it. I hated using it, and the shimmers are nice in the palette. It's the mattes that are the issue, and there are a lot of mattes in the palette. I don't understand the formula of this, and I just think that, you know, if they are supposed to be pressed loose pigments, that there should be like a huge disclaimer on the front of the palette, because they come out with so many palettes that are like this shape, and you open it and they're just like this, and then you expect it to be like their other eyeshadows, which I think their other eyeshadows are great, and the Prism palette's pretty darn good, but this one just, it didn't work for me, guys. I know it didn't work for a lot of people. I know you've already heard the tea on it. So again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I am going to let you know what I think about it. Next up, for a palette I do like, I will talk about this guy. This has the new Morphe logo on it. This is the 3502 palette. Now this palette, I haven't done a tutorial for you guys yet with it. I'm going to swatch a couple colors, but so many of you guys have asked me to do a tutorial with it, and I have totally not done that yet, but I definitely will. Mind you, this is the 3502. They have the 350, the 350 shimmers, and the 350 mattes, and this is the second version of the 3502, which is a mixture of shimmer and mattes. This is the warmest out of all of them. I will say it has more red color, so if you're into more reds and orange, I would say this is the one for you. If you're not, I would go with the original one, honestly. Unless you have like a ton of matte shadows, I wouldn't get the shimmer one because it has no mattes in it. That's literally 35 shimmers. Or if you have a ton of shimmers and you need some more mattes, the 350 matte might be great. But again, this is a mixture, so it's a better bang for your buck, and I feel like this is the warmest one out of all of them. So again, if you're really into fiery red colors, this is going to be your gal. The quality is so good. It's very similar to the original one, so if not better. So I think they killed it with this palette, and I know I'm going to be using it a lot. So let's talk about a palette that I don't care for. This is the Power Hungry palette from Matte. I feel like all the colors were so bland and similar to one another, it wasn't worth the money. And like I felt like a lot of the colors, like you expect like really beautiful pigment, and I would swatch it and barely anything was there. So I really didn't like it on my eyelids, especially this gold color. I just wanted it to be like out of this world. And then I hit it with my finger, and I was just like, no, it's just super, super, super just not that pigmented, guys. I just wanted this to have so much pigment and be pretty, but I just feel like so many of the colors basically look the exact same in the palette. This was just a flop for me. This didn't work. It just wasn't pigmented, okay? It wasn't pigmented. Okay, and lastly, I have this palette that I love, and then I have one more palette that I didn't love. And girl, what kind of fool would I be if I did not mention my own baby and child that I birthed? Okay, the Larlie Los Angeles palette, Cat's Pajamas. Obviously, I wear it almost every single day. This is what I love seeing people's palettes look like because it means it's used and loved and you got your money's worth out of it. This is just my go-to. It is so beaten and abused, and I use it every day. I keep this palette on my desk, and you know what's cool about it is if I'm not using it, I always pull a color out of it because it has all my go-to eyeshadow colors in it, and it's just such a beautiful palette with great quality, and I put my heart and soul into it. It is sold out. It's going to be on the Morphe website on October 27th, and in the Morphe store October 27th as well. Their Burbank store here in California. I'll put that information down in the description box, so you'll have a second chance to get it there. As far as my website, I don't know when it's going to be back in stock. Hopefully before Christmas. We're trying. Thank you guys for all the support and making this a huge success. I love you guys to death. I had to talk about her. I love her. We're talking about eyeshadow palettes here. I do have one more palette to talk about that didn't work out for me, and this is the palette Sonia Rankle. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, by Lancome. And this palette is super mauve-y. I do like the colors in it. It's a cool tone palette, but I found these to be very dry and flaky everywhere. And then like like all these are shimmers, and then there's one matte in the palette, which didn't really make that much sense to me. And then you have a matte with these two colors under this little piece. And the palette, I don't know, I don't understand what this is for and why these colors are hidden. And I feel like I couldn't get a complete look out of the eyeshadow palette. And they're super flaky. So overall, this was a bit of a bust for me. I really didn't like this palette. I do like the packaging. I think the packaging's super, super cute, and it's cute and little and compact. But the quality of the eyeshadows just was not up to what I love. Up to my standards, darling. So that is it for this video, guys. I feel like I talk so freaking much, like gag. But anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here and watching. And be sure and subscribe to my channel before you leave. Be sure to follow me on all my socials. I have Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, IG stories, Facebook. Girl, I'm all over the place. Check it out. And my socials are linked in the description box down below. And I love you guys, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.